Prigozhin's body identified in morgue by missing finger. Report.
Here's a summary of the article.
Russian state media appears to have one goal in the aftermath of the plane crash that reportedly killed the head of Wagner Group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, the group's founder Dmitry Utkin, and their associates on Wednesday, to deflect any blame away from Russian President Vladimir Putin. Prigozhin and Wagner did not present any threat to the Kremlin. None at all. They presented a colossal threat for the European countries. I'm trying to figure out who might have benefited from it. The very last person it would benefit is Putin, he said. For them, Prigozhin is target number one, he said, suggesting that Ukrainians blew up Prigozhin to mark their Independence Day on Thursday. In the aftermath of the short-lived mutiny back in June, Solovyov and his guests on the evening with Vladimir Solovyov were aghast that the Wagner chief was allowed to live after his march on Moscow. State Duma member Andrei Gurulyov, retired deputy commander of the 58th Combined Arms Army of the Southern Military District, said that traitors have to be destroyed, and urged Prigozhin and Utkin to commit suicide before a bullet finds them. In July, Eduard Petrov, who heads the Legal Programs Production Service, insisted that criminal investigations against Prigozhin were far from over, while various state media outlets portrayed Prigozhin and the Wagnerites as a bunch of unsavory characters, convicted of a plethora of shameful crimes. Despite that earlier stance, Solovyov claimed there was no coordinated media campaign to besmirch Prigozhin, referring to him as hero of Russia. He called on Wagner fighters to take Kyiv, in honor of Prigozhin, and urged viewers to consider who benefits from Prigozhin's death, naming the French, Americans, and Ukrainians as the most likely culprits.
This post received a score of 17,000, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Remind me of the joke when the US was hunting Saddam Hussein and he had all those body doubles. The 8 Saddam body doubles are gathered in one of the bunkers in downtown Baghdad. Tariq Aziz, the deputy prime minister, comes in and says, "I have some good news and some bad news." They ask for the good news first. Aziz says, "The good news is that Saddam is still alive, so you all still have jobs." "And the bad news?" they ask. Aziz replies, "He's lost an arm."
That's hilarious.
Hard to trust anything put out by Russian sources, but I think he's really dead, not just in hiding. There's no way Putin was going to suffer him to live. This is a guy who goes through the trouble of radioactive poisoning a journalist in the UK. He was never gonna let this one slide. Honestly, I have no idea why Prigozhin even started this shit if he was never willing to finish it. No half measures with these people. Once you cross that bridge, you are all in.
Dude's business was running a mercenary army that was getting pummeled in Bakhmut. Since he wasn't being allowed to have his guys retreat from the battle, I guess that he'd rather risk it and see if he'd live for longer after having pointed a gun to Putin's face and keeping his army, than as whatever he would have been after losing his army in Ukraine. But his true love was always being a charcutier. Well, now he's charcuterie. I don't think his quick flash in the pan was cured long enough to be charcuterie.
Well, it cured all his ails.
I just find it funny that they identified him the same way as Peter Pettigrew.
So what you're saying, is that he did indeed fake his death?
I mean, if he wasn't taking the torch into Ukraine from Belarus, he is dead. Or he was, in fact, Epstein. Or he is running away to the USA to give up military secrets. Buddy is running around with one less finger.
I'm still wondering if the US's warning to get out of Belarus has anything to do with his death.
Considering they're saying Wagner troops are seeking revenge and also Russia's been looking for any excuse to throw Belarus into the war, yeah.
An Il-76 from Russia landed in Belarus hours after it was announced his plane was shot down, and now the Wagner camp is being demolished after a bunch of Wagner troops apparently went AWOL. Saw the writing on the wall is my assumption. I'd say the US had some suspicions shit was going down soon.
I always assumed teeth was a sure way to identify people. If they can find his old dentist.
They found his current fingerist.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.